everyone, and welcome to our podcast HKU Research Team. I'm your host, Chrissy, and we are here with two guests, Joyce and Kate. They are the researchers in HKU, and today we are diving into a topic that affects thousands of families across Hong Kong, which is how the parental education level serve as a system of support or hindrance to the breakout of intergenerational poverty. So, let's move on to the project overview, and let me define the key concept of this project. Intergenerational poverty refers to a vicious cycle of passing down poverty from one generation to the next and making upward mobility more difficult. And parental education level means the highest level of formal education obtained by the children's parent, which may influence the children's future opportunity. So, you might be wondering, why should we focus on this topic? It is because intergenerational poverty is a persistent issue in many countries where children from low-income families often face major barriers to achieve upward mobility. And let's consider the case in Hong Kong. Despite its global image, Hong Kong is one of the developed cities with the highest income inequality rates. And according to a study, it shows that over the past 40 years, the top 1% of the population, also considered upper class, the income increased from 11% to 16%. While the bottom 50% of the population, also considered middle and lower class, the income dropped from 19% to 12%. This demonstrates the fact that the rich will become richer and the poor will become poorer. And on the other hand, education is often seen as the more accessible and practical way to break this cycle. And children's access to academic support and resources is mostly shaped by their parents' educational levels. So, it is necessary to have research on this issue to explore how parental education shape their children's life chances in terms of educational attainment, career development, and so on. And most importantly, whether parental education levels serve as a system of support or hinder upward mobility and the breakout of intergenerational poverty. And finally, you may ask, why is this study necessary? It is because it helps us to understand whether parental educational levels truly influence children's upward mobility, especially in a city like Hong Kong where inequality is deeply rooted. And if parental education proves to be the key factor, it could lead to the improvement of education policy or the family support system, like adult learning program or family-based educational program. So we have talked about the research topic and why it matters. And now I'm curious, and I think our audience are curious too. How exactly will the research team and like our guests investigate this topic? And what is the methodology?
Thank you, Chrissy, for the introduction. So I'll be moving on to discuss about the methodology of our research. So this research will primarily utilize existing data as its methodology to provide an analysis of intergenerational poverty in Hong Kong. So the data sort that we have sorted out is that we'll be using the HKPSSD data as we've sorted out the choices of data and decided to use their data. The HKPSSD is Hong Kong's first longitudinal household panel study designed to track changes in Hong Kong society and economy and their impacts on individuals. The study focuses mainly on family dynamics and inequality, and we believe that their data can provide useful information for our research. So as for the data analysis techniques, we'll be using two techniques, which the first one will be descriptive statistics, which summarize education levels and poverty rates, which includes mean, median income by parental education. And also we'll be using inferential statistics, which tests if parental education predicts child poverty, and controlling for variables like household type or the number of dependents if possible. The software we'll be using to analyze the data is tools like SPSS for statistical analysis. As for the ethical considerations for our research, we have emailed HKPSSD for the permission to use their data for academic purposes, but is still waiting for their reply. So why are we choosing this method to analyze our data? This is because that this approach of using pre-existing comprehensive data sets allows us for more comprehensive evaluation of existing systems like strengths and weaknesses, which minimize the need for primary data collection while providing analysis to inform policy recommendations. However, there are some limitations and challenges that we need to overcome, which is that the inability to collect primary primary qualitative data on lived experience and reliance on the pre-existing variables that are available in the dataset. Also, there might be some data issues such as the potential gaps in the datasets, like outdated datasets, some missing variables. So considering these limitations, some of the methods we will use is that we may analyze multiple data sets to see if they perform similar outcomes or there are other variables that affecting the
Thank you,
results.
Joyce, for sharing the method that will apply to this topic with us. And I also want to know, based on the existing findings, what you guys actually discover in order to understand this issue in a deeper way.
Thank you for your question. So as every research we have done, we will also have preliminary findings before we actually do our research. So first of all, on the magnitude and seriousness of the issue. So previous study has already revealed that adolescents with poor parents have 202% higher chance of being poor in young adulthood. So in general, youth from disadvantaged family have disadvantages in both employment opportunity and risk of poverty again as cumulative disadvantages. So numerous contributing factors have been revealed in previous study, so including home ownership status, income level of living community, migration identity, duration of the household benefit received, and also parental education level. So why are we choosing parental education level? Is that it is a very crucial factor. So study have already demonstrated that even children who grew up from family receiving social benefit and other contributing factor of IGP intergenerational poverty, when a parent have a higher vocational level, they can still have more support to their children, for instance, providing advisory for them. So numerous studies have already done in different countries, and this time we would like to stretch more focus in the context of Hong Kong. So why a parental education level matters? So study has discovered few reasons. So first of all, children with parents in lower education level are less likely to choose a higher educational pathway. So based on the Green Gopher model, the main focus of parents is to maintain their children's status. Upward mobility is only a minority focus. This is a framework to explain class differences in relation with education attainment and decisions. So parents' low education level will limit the ability of family in supporting their children's education and professional advancement, as they have fewer opportunity to provide financial and advisory support to their children, to preserve or even promote their education and invest on their human capital, so resulting in inequality of their children's education attainment and passing the disadvantage accumulation to their children. So studies has also point out that secondary school graduated students whose parents will have a vocational training degree or university degree have lower probability of employment directly after graduation than those whose parent doesn't have the certification. Moreover, the importance of maternal education is also stretched in some readings. So it's related to the important role of the mothers in transferring knowledge and values to their children. And secondly, children grow up in socially disadvantaged family may lack in positive education role model, so they may suffer from reduced expectation of themselves and lack of future perspective. So these expectations may also due to the information differences they receive when considering education attainment, and they have less motivation to fight for a higher education. So studies has been done in other countries like Norway, Poland. So what we can conclude is that parental education, regardless of geographical location, is a strong contributor to the IGP situation. And we would like to know more about the situation in Hong Kong. So IGP is a serious issue that we would need to tackle, and it is not only the situation in Hong Kong, but we would like to investigate with regard to other cases in other countries and to know more about how the situation is in Hong Kong. Thank you.
So, throughout the discussion of the day, we know that this study aims to explore how parental education level may shape children's chances to escape intergenerational poverty in Hong Kong. And by analyzing data from the HKBSSD and exploring existing findings, we hope the research team could contribute meaningful insight that inform future policy and support system. And I would like to leave the audience a few questions to reflect. How has your own family educational background shaped your opportunity? And if you could design one policy to improve social mobility, what would it be? Once again, thank you so much for listening to our podcast and stay tuned for our guest research findings. Bye.